and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, your host, OLED Ed Fries, joined, as always, by the natural Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, how you doing tonight?
Still recovering from the weekend. How are you?
You know what? I got to watch this on my VPN, and it was delightful. This show was done at 9:20. I didn't have any spoilers. It was great.
Yeah. Whatever.
It did take me about 15 minutes to figure out where the fuck the episode was because it wasn't coming up as live, so it wouldn't play it. So it's like, you can watch the episode for the 7th. Like, no, the episode for the 7th hasn't happened yet, dumbass. I need the episode for the 1st.
Mm-hmm. I forgot it was taped too until I started seeing all the pictures ahead of time. I was like, oh, I forgot it was a double taping last week. It's the 4th of July.
Yeah. So, happy 4th of July for those that choose to celebrate it in this terrible
And happy Canada Day to our fellow Canadians.
I'm going to accept that one more happily. Happy Canada Day. I am an honorary Canadian because I can't.
I mean,
we
are.
Be here
we both
more.
are.
Okay. I didn't know if you were coming
That's why I said fellow Canadians. I'm cutting myself as part of the group somehow.
Okay. No. I'm just leeching onto the group at this point. Because Lord knows I can't fucking stay here anymore. After the big fucking beautiful bill passed today. But anyways, we're getting off topic on that because we're not supposed to talk politics here. We'll talk NXT. Trick Williams comes out for commentary for Joe Hendry versus Wesley. Ashley, what do you think?
I mean, I like the fact that, as I was telling you about it, that this was taped last week, and then we hear Vic on commentary saying how Mike Santana is part of the match somehow, even though it hadn't been announced by the time this was taped. So that's great to know. No, I like the match, though. I know it's going to be something kind of short in a way, just to show off Joe a little bit, give him a little bit of a warm-up heading into Slammiversary here. So, but it was a fun match for me, at least. I like the fact that at one point, Trick goes, yeah, show him how the West Side does it, and then all of a sudden Joe Hendry does a little close line to West. He goes, yeah, he's on the east side and the south and the north, anywhere by the West Side. Is all the guys in commentary said. But overall fun match. I like the fact of having Santana there, that he's being used more often. So can't wait for the NXT contract to be at his door at the time that his TNA contract expires. And I think he really helps out Joe Hendry there to get the win and get revenge.
Yeah, this was a fine match. There was nothing great about it. There was nothing terrible about it. It was what it was. I agree with you. I think TNA had taped before NXT had taped. Hey, it's the soon-to-be birthday girl, Millie. Hello. Happy birthday, Millie. You'll hear her birthday Friday. TNA had taped their stuff before NXT taped last week. So I think TNA's creative gave Vic the direction of the thing and WWE the direction of the thing to know this is what's going for Slammiversary. Push this. By the time this happens, we'll make sure we get everything out. Because again, the great thing is commentary is the only thing that needs to know. Nobody will hear the commentary until after the thing comes out. So it's no harm, no foul. Because even the Mike Santana stuff, like Mike Santana coming out, running out, and saving Joe Hendry, makes sense from a TNA storyline point of view. He hates Trick Williams. He wants to go ahead and do that. No, I did not indirect. I mean, I did say happy birthday. I don't know if that's what we're talking about, but I did not immediately indirect you. No, the July 4th thing. No, that's just because of everything going on in the political world that I can't support things. July 4th is a great day that I'll use to celebrate Millie's birth. Oh no, the Astrid, she can't chat on the live chat of Astrid stream. Oh no.
Yeah.
Astrid, is your live chat broken?
I don't know. Let's see what's happening here.
But no, I thought this was a good match. And again, like you said, I think that there are a million reasons why we can make for what's going on with why Vic would have known between the companies telling each other. Between the companies telling each other, between the fact that, the combatants in the thing would have known and they can help direct commentary. More importantly, as long as NXT doesn't say anything verbally in the show and only do it on commentary or backstage segments, it wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So we get Tatum and Zaruka going on backstage. Tatum is upset that Zaria and stole her last week from that match. Which of course prompts Izzi to come in and yell and scream at her. Izzi blames Zaruka for her loss in the main event and not Tatum, furthering the gaslighting of Tatum Paxley that she's Tatum's friend and she understands Tatum didn't willingly leave the match to confuse her and distract her. It was because she was kidnapped. And I like this. I think it's bringing this storyline through. It's giving Tatum something to do, which was scary considering when everybody else surrounding her got released. It's like, oh God, is she going to be okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine. Everything's good for Tatum. Make sure to check out Javier Bernal and all the wonderful Javier Bernal stuff for the. Go ahead and support the film. But yeah, I thought this was a good thing by all four. Zaria just being sick and tired of all this bullshit, just walked away. Sold Ruca with the tongue. As Izzy. This was all just a whole bunch of fun. And then, then things got weird. We got to the Tony D'Angelo segment, which is always the worst segment of the week, sitting there. And this was almost the same. Had it not been for the saving grace of this segment, Luca Carusafino, this would have been a train wreck of a segment again. Luca comes out and he cuts a really good promo talking about loyalty, talking about how he left Duquesne with a year to go because Tony needed him, how he's always been there for the family, how no matter what happens, he's been there. When he's gotten job offers from other law firms and bigger opportunities, he's stayed here to make sure that he represents Tony D'Angelo and Tony D'Angelo's interests. Tony goes back and forth with him and he says, no, Tony, this isn't a discussion. This is me talking and you listening. That's when Zach comes out because I saw Zach's comment. Hello, happy Canada Day. That's when Stax comes out and he starts getting involved in this and thanking Luca. And Luca's like, you know what, Stax? You shut the fuck up too. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from you. This is about me. I'm talking about me. I'm part of the family. You're not part of this family anymore. And then Tony's like, yeah, Stax, you're not part of this. And bam, he gets sucker punched by Luca. And I'm like, oh, there's the heel turn. Oh, Luca's going with Stax. And Stax is in the ring and he's hugging him and he's happy. And Luca punches him too. And Luca's like, I'm on my own side. And I'm like, oh, shit. There didn't need to be 3 sides to this. 2 sides is bad enough. I mean, the 3rd side is just going to make this even worse. I'm happy for Luca because I think Luca's great. But
I just feel like this storyline is not what I was hoping it would be since it started. Like if I were to like wrap up the storyline, not that I said I have a better idea because I can't think of one right now, but I don't like this execution at all of like the whole D'Angelo family. I would have rather than keep them together if this was the other option, to be honest, because this is not doing any favors to anybody right now, at least. The part here with Luca, though, I'm glad he picked his side on one end of it, just because it was something unexpected. We're like thinking it was going to be that heel turn, but that heel turn seems too predictable at the same time. So you're kind of hoping something else might happen that isn't that, just because it's so like the default answer, like it happened with Stax when it happened. So you're kind of hoping it doesn't happen. So it did happen. At first I went, oh, great. This is obviously what we all thought was going to happen. And then when he hits Stax, I'm like, okay, this is a different direction. So I was like, what happens next year? Which is something that's very interesting, a little bit on Luca's side of it. But overall, the whole storyline, I would have preferred them keeping the D'Angelo family together because this is not working out.
I don't mind the D'Angelo family breaking up. And of course, I'm not talking about this D'Angelo family. I'm talking about the other D'Angelo family. But if we're going to break up the D'Angelo family, I would have done it in a much better way. Like, I just feel like it's been like, in terms of storytelling, especially in wrestling, or in any television product, you have an A storyline and a B storyline. Those are the storylines that drive your shows. Then you have other things, C, D, etc. storylines. This feels like a Z storyline for NXT. They don't give two shits about it. I assume it's being booked by the least popular person on the creative team, because it never feels like it has anything. Like I said, the best part of this entire feud was the promo that Ruca cut before he punched Tony and before he punched Shax. Like him talking about his loyalty and talking about more in depth into the character of Luca Crucifino, which, by the way, is entirely tied to the real person behind Luca Crucifino, who went to Duquesne, who played football for Duquesne, and is currently enrolled as a law student at Duquesne. So I think it's very interesting that that's all coming through with this. I like that part of it. Everything else I could have gotten rid of. This could have been strictly a Luca promo, to camera, backstage, after last week, and I think it would have been a much better segment.
And still, like, the problem with Rizzo, just the fact that we haven't seen her. There's no really explanation to her whatsoever right now either. That's what I'm like, I would have rather just keep them together at that point, because you don't get a lot of groups like this that are actually active right now on the roster. And this is one of the few ones that was working well. So it's like, if it was working, why break it up like that?
Because reasons, Astrid. Reasons. We get Obafemi cutting a promo backstage with Kelly Kincaid. It was fine. Inamura comes up and cuts a decent promo for him. It was fine. I mean, it just told us that Jasper Troy wasn't winning this match. That's what it did. This promo was basically like, look, Jasper Troy's not going to win. It's going to be Inamura. Which is fine. It's the match we want. We've already seen Jasper Troy. He's already gotten a rocket shoved up his ass and shooting him straight to the moon. So, he got the To the Moon power card from Ava. For those that don't know what that means, watch me and Bobby every Monday on the War Room. You can find out. But again, there's literally nothing to this. This is scripted, jargon as best we can. Like, I love Obafemi, but there's no meat. There's no meat to this, so it's kind of pointless.
Yep.
If it weren't on the show, I wouldn't have cared. If it was on the show, I still didn't care. Speaking of things that I wish weren't on the show, Lexis King was here, taking on Myles Borne. There are two things to point out in this. Myles Borne has new entrance music, which was used in TNA in 2010. And it's by the band, In This Moment or something? On This Moment, In This Day, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. It was bullshit I don't listen to. So Ashley sent me a picture, but I couldn't remember to say.
It's called The Product. No, is it The Product?
Is it The Product? I don't know.
Make Your Move by The Product.
Make Your Move. Okay, whatever. It still sucks. Whatever it is, it sucks. More importantly, Myles Borne seems to have a new finisher. This sucks too. Why? Because it's a fucking zigzag.
Oh my goodness, but there was a part there too. I had to try not to laugh, because even Corey says at the end, he's like, oh, he just won by some sort of zigzag, and I'm like, some sort. It's not the zigzag. It's some sort of. And I was like, oh no. I was like, you're already like saying that on commentary. That doesn't help either.
Because they're going to give it some stupid nickname that's gonna suck anyway. It's like they're not going to call it the zigzag. They're going to call it something else.
Yep.
There was a lot of this, which is the fan sign for the Florida Gators, the hands going together. Ashford obviously knows about that, as they're the best football team in Florida, but that's only because they pay for their athletes unlike the rest of Florida, which has to, do it the real way. Did I say that? Did I say that Florida cheats? No, never. But yeah, this match was by the books. The best part of this match was commentary, to be honest with you. I actually thoroughly enjoyed Vic, Corey, and Booker on commentary for this match. I thought it was great. At one point, Corey Graves or Vic Joseph, I don't remember which one, says that Lexis King does his mustache, does his beard by Etch-a-Sketch. Because it looks so shitty, it's like he has the Etch-a-Sketch and he just takes it and tweaks the buttons.
Oh no.
And this is why STG sucks, because he says Booker is the best of all time. And if I could time out STG, I would, but I'm not going to. Speaking of something else that didn't belong on the show, Dark State was here cutting another promo.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. They did say, we see everything, and if we catch you lacking, it's over. And then Reader Man says, I think I know what we're going to do next. And everybody looks at him, and they all put their masks on, and I'm like, great. More to come.
No, this is when they show up in TNA now.
Is this when they show up in TNA?
I believe so.
Oh.
Based on the timing, it has to be, yeah.
Who the fuck cares? Dark State won't be over no matter what program they're working. Even if they're working with Matt Cardona, they won't be over. Do you know how bad it has to be if you can't get over working a program with Matt Cardona? As Kevin Owens says, that man is the hardest working man on the indies who only wants to be in WWE.
That is very.
By the way, if you haven't seen it, please go check out that the new Cody Rhodes podcast this week. I feel like a mark for Cody Rhodes every time I shout this out, but I love this podcast series every week. 2 weeks ago it was Damian. This week it's Kevin Owens. If you haven't, please go watch it. It's really, really good. Him and Kevin have a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much better than talking about fucking Dark State. I'd much rather do a 10-minute review of that than review Dark State. Speaking of things I don't want to review, Lainey Reid defeats Thea Hale. Well, I mean, she didn't defeat Thea Hale, but the referee counted 3 and pretended like he didn't see anything. So, fine. It is what it is.
Wait, why did you want to see it? Because it's Thea?
I didn't want to see any of this because of any of it.
Really?
So here's the thing with Lainey Reid. The most interesting thing about Lainey Reid is her entrance music. That's it. Other than that, she's generic Southern Hillbilly number 4. Like, there's nothing different about her than any of the other Southern characters. She's Fallon Henley without the cow print. She's Fallon Henley without the bar. Like, she's nothing different than any of the other. You could sub her in for the Southern Belle when Lacey was here. You could sub her in as Fallon Henley. You could have subbed her in as that. Like, she's interchangeable with all of these other women. She's actually really good in the ring. The one thing I like is she's really good in the ring. But she's not
the Lacey
entertaining.
reference.
Oh, of course the Lacey reference.
Oh, no. But I can say, like, I like this match more than anything because it showed her off more. And it showed her power a lot during this match. I like the dynamic between the speed of Thea and her power. And I feel like they did really well on that aspect of it. I like how at the beginning she tried to cheat and the referee saw the 2 feet on the ropes when no, this is not it. And then I would have wanted for Thea to take advantage right there in that pin and get the win there. But we get Lainey. It looks like based on what I've seen, she's going to get more pushed more often. I like so far how she's in the ring, but I want to see more of her personality on the mic because I feel like people kind of gravitated towards her when she was answering JC's promo a couple weeks ago. So I want to see more of that. I'm interested to see what her connection is to the crowd and how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, fine. Like, I'm not opposed to seeing more Lainey Reid. I just, as of right now, I don't see anything interesting or different about it. And any match that Thea Hale had was going to be better than the last match that she had. Because at least this way, if this person took a swinging neckbreaker, they'd fall the right way.
Oh my god.
We had a Candy Crew segment here. Ren selfishly says that she wants Tavion to stay in the No Quarter Catch crew. And then she does the Ren Sinclair fingers up thing that the Candy Crew does. Charlie says that he needs more time. Tavion says, I want what Myles had, a one-on match with you. And Charlie says, fine, you can have it. But if you lose, that's the end of this. We're not dealing with this bullshit no more. Charlie's going to cheat to win and keep Tavion in the no quarter catch crew, isn't it?
Most likely. I mean, there's no way they lose 2 people in a row.
No, there is. I mean, we just watched the D'Angelo family get blown up.
I know. I don't know. This one's very random, though.
Why are we breaking up all the groups?
That's what I'm thinking, because I don't get that part of it. With the D'Angelo family, you kind of got hints of it with the way that Stacks was being, so you kind of already knew like it was coming. But this one just felt so random. It's like, here, I want to leave. Okay, have a match. Leaves. Oh, I want to leave. Has a match. Loses. Okay, I want to have another match. And then, what is this? Why are they just leaving so suddenly? Like, if something would have happened that Charlie would have done that they would have disagreed with, I would understand why they were like, oh, I want to leave because I don't like what you did, kind of thing. But it's like randomly, I just want to leave. I'm like, but why? Why'd you do this? I feel like and I hate to use this word, but it just gives me like PTSD from the metaphor. Like, why? I know Belle was like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. There you go.
Absolutely don't be suspicious.
I don't know. It's weird.
It is what it is. It is. We got a Jasper Troy promo, which was fine. He talks better than I expected. But then again, it's because I didn't watch. I'm sure had I watched LFG, I would have expected more and been okay with this. But I didn't watch LFG, and I'm not watching season 2 either, so no clue. If I don't see it on social media, I have no clue what's going on LFG. But no, I think they've done a really good job with Jasper Troy. I feel bad for Tyra Bay Steele for basically being shoved to the side as a unwanted toy after winning the women's side of LFG. But I do like that they have a direction, they have a character, and they have a thing for Jasper, which is good. Even if he now starts to fall down the card and keeps losing to big talent, that's fine. Because he's already made a statement, and now is the time where he can start losing a bunch of matches. You know, he lost to Obafemi. Fine. He lost to Yoshiki Inamura here. Fine. He's going to lose to Javon Evans. Fine. Those are good matches for him to lose, because as long as he looks good in it, it'll be okay for him. The highlight of the night for me was this next match. The Culling taking on Zaruka. I loved everything about this. I thought the ring psychology was great. I thought the story told in the ring was great. I thought Tatum did a fantastic job. I thought Izzi was the highlight of the night here. I thought Zaruka worked well as a tag team, and I wouldn't mind them being on the Evolution card, going after those tag team championships. I mean, I know they won't be the ones going for that, but I wouldn't mind that. Because I think they'd be a good championship team to hold those. Tatum saves Izzi from a Zaria spear, and Zaria ends up spearing Ruca. That was really cool, really interesting. I like the idea that the commentators made it a big deal that Tatum's picking a side. That Tatum's made a decision on her own that this is who she wants to align with. For better or worse, and it's going to end up for worse for Tatum. This is really good and really interesting, and I really love this match. And I thought it was great to have Tatum on the shoulders of Niko after the match, and Shawn looking up happily and clapping and looking up at Tatum. It was all about being in the corner of Tatum here for the members of the Culling. It's telling this story of they're going to gaslight this poor girl to the ends until they don't need her no more, and they're going to throw her to this. Maybe she becomes a part of the Culling, and this isn't going to do what I think it's going to do. But I have a bad feeling as soon as they get what they want out of her, they're going to throw her to the side, which again would be fine, because if it leads to a story between her and Izzi, then that's great too. Because again, it keeps her on TV, it keeps her in as an important figure on the television broadcast, and it keeps telling the culling story in a different way where they don't have to be at the top of a card or always going. Yes, they're both going for championships, but they're not going for championships in a normal way. They're doing it in an interesting way to tell a story about how the culling works, as opposed to wrestlers attack people, get title match.
The part I'm gonna hate about this, like, it already broke my heart that they broke out Kimiko X, but barely giving them an opportunity. It's gonna break my heart when they do this to her too, if it goes that way in that route later. I don't want to see it. We just got our hearts broken not so long ago. But I did like the fact that, I mean, you mentioned this also have the Tatum was on the surfboard finisher there with a soul, and Zaria had her shoulders, and then just throwing her out the way she did. I thought that was fun. I like the chemistry between Izzi and Tatum already as a team here to begin with. I feel like something that you could see moving forward. And I just enjoy them working together here. Like you said, the ending was very interesting. We keep putting and poking the bear here with the whole, Zaria and Ruca storyline, which somewhere towards the title sometime soon. So that was very interesting. But yeah, I'm just curious to see what direction they pick for the culling and Tatum here, because like you said, they could pick either side. Either one will be fine.
Yeah, and I think in this particular match, what I really loved about it is it got time, and it felt like they knew the story. The commentators were telling the story that was actually being told in the ring, and the wrestlers were telling that same thing in in-ring psychology. And so many times the commentators are telling a story that the wrestling match isn't telling, especially here on NXT a lot of time with some of the women. There's a lot of times where some of these women are just having a wrestling match because they're still developing. They're still learning. They're still figuring it out. So sometimes the matches are a little bit more choreographed, whereas this one felt a very much more kind of free-flowing, moving. Mm-hmm. And they told the story that the commentators were telling, which is so helpful for making the match enjoyable as an audience member. And the fact that it was all about the Tatum and Izzi and showcasing the two of them in this match. Mm-hmm. Even though you have two bigger, badder stars on the other side of the ring, you utilized your time very well to continue the Tatum Paxley story. And she's kind of a story of the night. She has a segment earlier on, she has the match here, and she'll be a vital part of the segment we're going to talk about in a little bit. Backstage in Ava's office, we get Ricky Saints, Paige, and his children talking about what's going to happen with Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. Ethan Page says, look, here's what'll happen. If he wants another shot at me, he's going to have to earn it. He shouldn't. He should get his automatic rematch, but, whatever. So, Ethan suggests that he goes through the Vanity Project gauntlet. And Ava's like, I don't know. Ricky's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I can take out these two jabronis. It's no big deal. I can do this. But when I win, I get to choose the stipulation for the Great American Bash. Which I'm telling you right now, I'm almost certain it's going to be a cage match. To keep the Vanity Project out and to keep Ethan Page in. I'm almost certain it's going to be a cage match.
Okay, is it weird that I have a feeling that Ethan Page is plan B, and this is why this is going to happen soon?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a very good chance that Ethan Page is plan B for Seth Rollins. Which, by the way, would be a terrible mistake for both Ethan Page and Seth Rollins if he is plan B. What do you mean, no? Why are you shaking your head?
Disagree.
Ethan would be an awful option for that Seth. The only good thing that they've done with the Seth Rollins group is putting Braun Breaker in it. Bronson Reed makes no sense as to why he would align with Seth Rollins. Zero sense why he's aligned with Seth Rollins.
None. He gives Ethan the spotlight, so that's what matters.
He was in the fucking War Games match. He had all the spotlight he needed.
No, Ethan.
Ethan makes sense.
No, that's what I'm saying. It gives Ethan a good spotlight having Rollins there as the person with him.
It gives Ethan a spotlight, but I don't think it does anything for Ethan or his character to be a part of this. Because Ethan is another conniving heel like the Seth Rollins character is kind of being. It's two of the same. You need something different.
For me, is this is probably just us to use it as an introduction for Ethan in the main roster. That's why that's how I think about it. I know. I love the idea. I love both of my people together. Why not?
I want to keep Ethan with his children.
No. Who cares
Or
about his
Ethan
children?
can or Ethan can go work back in TNA where I don't.
As Moba will say, weaponize the children. You know, that's what you do.
Well, yes, we weaponize the children. We weaponize the Vanity Project. By the way, another Vanity Project sighting. No Zeta Steel in sight.
I don't care about them until Zeta's there.
By the way, Hulk, right, Joe, we're doing great tonight. We're both a little tired. I don't know which one's on the same page about the Seth group, because me and Astrid aren't on the same page. So I'm very interested.
See, weaponize the children.
Well, trust me, Ethan's already weaponizing the children. He's throwing them in front of a dangerous Ricky Saints next week. Yes. Chase U segment. Chase apologizes to the Snowflakes and accepts that he's going to change. This is stupid. I hate it.
And he gives Kale a singles match for next week, but he didn't say against two, though. He shouldn't celebrate that quickly, when you don't know who your opponent is. So,
I hope it's Oba Femi. I really hope it's Oba Femi.
I was thinking, I hope it's somebody. I was waiting for that moment to be like, oh, is this person? And be kind of like an Oba Femi, somebody like bigger than Kale, so that he would be like, never mind, I don't want the match. That kind of reaction at that moment, I would have loved to see it. But I also like the mystery of it, just because he's like, oh yeah, I got this. And I'm just imagine when the music starts and they're like, oh shit, it's not who I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, okay, he agrees with me that Bronson Reed doesn't belong. Okay, good.
Okay.
You literally write Seth Rollins out with 6 tsunamis, and then once you come back from injury, you're like, I'm going to join the guy that I was trying to destroy. It's like, really?
Yeah,
really?
That part doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm.
I love Braun and Braun together. I think Braun and Braun are good together. And by the way, Braun makes perfect sense in the Seth Rollins group. Because Braun Breaker has always been this kind of guy who's like, they planted the seeds with Paul Heyman forever ago. So it can be as simple as he's just following Paul Heyman. And maybe that's the same thing for Bronson Reed. But it just feels weird with Bronson with Seth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
don't get me wrong. I love seeing Bronson Reed in a suit, because that bastard wears a suit better than anybody in that ring. When the 4 of them are in the ring, the best looking dude in that ring is Bronson Reed, and it's not even close. Just so we're clear.
Disagree so much, but anyway, let's move on.
Santana and Hendry have a backstage promo segment with Kelly Kincaid. We find out next week that it's going to be Santana and Hendry versus the High Rise.
Yep.
Fine.
And then we get the contract signing for Slammiversary at the Great American Bash.
Yeah, we get the contract signing for a TNA match at a TNA pay-per-view at an NXT Premium Live event. Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Sure.
Fucking hell. Well, you know what? They're guaranteed to get more eyes on the contract signing by having it on WWE TV than they ever have having it on TNA television.
I mean, they're putting it on YouTube now, so that's a good thing. Oh, they also announced they have a free tier of the TNA Plus too. So if anybody wants to subscribe, that's a good time to do that too.
Yes, but all you're going to get with that free tier, I believe, is to watch Impact on a weekly basis when it's live.
Yeah.
I don't think you get to watch it on demand. I think you only get to watch it when it's live.
No, but it's a good way to introduce you to some people.
Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. This is supposed to build up Braun. Reed is just getting in the way.
No way.
I mean, a little bit, but we'll talk about that another night when we're actually talking about Seth and his faction. I feel like that's going to distract from the rest of the show. But I agree to an extent, but I think there's I think you can reasonably put them in there. Inamura had the backstage promo with Briggs, and he tells Briggs, no, I'm going to do this myself. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Or Inamura. I thought this was going to... I was like, oh no, are they really going to have Jasper Troy win this? That would be weird.
Yeah, I really thought Briggs was gonna cost Inamura the title match because of that. So I thought if it doesn't happen tonight, this is gonna happen sometime later along, maybe at the pay-per-view itself.
Maybe. We get a backstage segment with the Culling and Tatum. They're all celebrating what happened. Ava comes and tells them that, guess what? Soul versus Izzi at the Great American Bash for the North American Championship. Great. Good. You're using tag team storytelling to sell a singles match. Makes perfect sense. And for the first time, Soul's title reign might be in jeopardy. There's a small chance that they do this and take a swing and flip that title over to the Culling. It's not a big chance, but there's a small chance that they do it.
Yeah, I was like, it's tough because I get where you're coming from, but also you have that moment that I would have liked for Zaria to take it instead.
I agree. It should be Zaria.
Sorry, Millie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Don't
Millie.
worry. Millie's not here anymore. She's modding for Allison K.
She said she's lurking, so she might give us a late reply. So we'll see.
She'll just yell at me on Twitter after the show's over, like she normally does. Also in this, Hank and Tank come running up, and all the people get in the way. And Hank and Tank accuse the Culling of attacking them, which I said last week is exactly what happened. Although their reasoning is a lot more unusual than mine, because they were like, it's a black chair. Idiots! All the fucking chairs in WWE are black. Have you not seen this? When's the last time you saw WWE use a white chair?
Yeah, that's true.
Or a red chair, or a blue chair, or any chair of any color. They're all fucking black. Every single one of them.
True.
Why would it just be the Culling that uses a black chair? Tatum defends the Culling and says, my new friends wouldn't have done something like that. But if you feel so strongly about it, why don't you put those tag team titles on the line next week? Ava approves, and we got a tag title match next week. Hopefully this is the end of fucking Hank Tank. Come on, Culling. Come on, Culling.
I mean, that would be interesting.
And his chair blind. Sometimes. Inamura versus Jackson. Jackson Troy. Jasper Troy. I love this. I thought this was great. It wasn't my match of the night, but I thought it was much better than I expected it to be. I really enjoy. Jasper Troy is a really good monster. He does all the big monster things really good. His selling is getting better week by week. For the stage of his career that he's in, he's a lot further along than I thought he'd be. And I really enjoy how well he worked with Inamura here. Some of Inamura's things are a little silly, like, the E-Honda, sumo wrestling hands. They're a little silly, but I thought Jasper Troy sold them well. I liked Jasper Troy's. His limited offense works well for somebody who just won a game show. Like, that to me is really cool. And every week he seems to be adding a little bit more to the game. He's adding a little bit more to this and a little bit more to that. I really enjoy everything that Jasper Troy's doing. And Inamura winning is the right call. Javon Evans attacking Jasper is a great thing for both of them because it continues another storyline. And I loved the way they did this, where they have Oba come out to confront Inamura, and they use the camera shot from the entrance behind them to the ring with the two guys in frame and Jasper yelling in the background. And then they cut to the quick shot of him getting put down with the jumping cutter. And then right back to the long shot where you can see Javon yelling at Jasper Troy, but you can't hear any of it, while you see Oba and Inamura look up, see what's going on, smile, and then go back to what they were doing. I thought this was incredibly well shot from that kind of a thing. And it did a really good job of making both things feel important while not losing the idea that this title match is the A portion of what they're telling you. Really, really enjoyed all of this.
Mm-hmm. Can I say this is my favorite Inamura match so far? I like the fact that him being here by himself, he was able to show himself so much more, especially with somebody like Jasper, and he could be more like hard hitting than usual. It felt like, and I like the part of like it almost felt like he felt like a powerhouse for once. I feel like usually he looks very silly, and this time around I feel like I took him more seriously in this match than I had in any other matches. And I love the fact that they could have a good back and forth, like the way that he just pushes Jasper, and Jasper barely stumbles back, but he does at the same time. And then the back and forth they have with each other was so great here. The chemistry they have for like you said, for somebody like Jasper who doesn't have a lot of experience, and Inamura has more experience than Jasper does. They did so well together, and I love how they were able to mesh both of them being like powerhouses to this. And it made me see Inamura in a different light, because I'm usually thinking like, oh, it's not gonna win. He's just a silly guy, like the way he is with that comedy character. And then seeing him tonight, not only in the match but then winning, I went definitely normal. But then him winning at the end, it just I feel like I could see him a little bit differently from what he's usually seen when he's with Briggs. And I love the fact that he was able to show that off tonight. And I like the fact that he doesn't really get to do that, but I love that he was able to do that tonight with Jasper. And I like the fact that this could have gone either way, even like just thinking of the match in itself. But I'm glad they went with Inamura at the end, something unexpected, but very fun. I enjoyed the match a lot. It's like I love the fact that they were able to show off a little bit of each other here.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed this match. I knew I was going to enjoy the women's tag because I think Tatum is immensely talented. I think Izzi has something, and they finally nailed something with Izzi when it comes to what she's doing, and whether or not it's her and Braun talking shop at home, whether it's just working with Shawn Spears in the culling and gaining all of that knowledge from this immense veteran that he is, to constantly be able to bounce ideas off of him. And I'm sure he's doing a lot more of the storytelling in this to make sure that everything he's involved in makes sense. Because the one thing that's weird is everything that the culling's done has made sense. Like, this is the one story here where every week it always makes, with the exception of the 1 week where they kicked out Brooks with no explanation. But then as soon as the next week came, they're like, here's the explanation. Boom. Perfect. Makes sense. Because that video package where they gave us the 2-minute thing of Izzi being like, he wasn't really part of our group. And they showed these couple of seconds where you've been slow telling the story without us ever knowing. I'm like, that's really good. That's really creative storytelling. You're taking these very little moments. For whatever reason, you've diverted from what you were going to do. Fine. But at least you have a reason after the fact. And like I said, I don't know if it's her working with Braun. And because when we talked to Javier, we found out that, couples talk and things like that. So, with him and Tatum, there's a lot of that where they sometimes talk shop and they bounce ideas off of each other. So it's very obvious that Izzi could be doing the same thing with Braun Breaker. Yes, Shawn Spears is involved. That definitely I agree. Shawn Spears isn't going to do anything that doesn't make sense. And more importantly, Shawn Spears is going to make sure that if he's doing something, especially now at this point in his career, he's going to be involved in how it gets told at some point, somehow, somewhere. But I've been loving everything with the color for a while now. And again, Izzi is just light years better than what she was when she was Kiana's friend in green. Remember the days where I couldn't tell if it was Kiana, if it was Carmen or Izzi?
Yeah, that's all I can think about every time I think of Izzi, of how she went from the girl in green who you know for the name of, and then now.
It's great. Next week's show, we got the Culling taking on Hank Tank for the tag team titles. We've got the Vanity Project Gauntlet match with Ricky Saints. We've got Hendry and Santana taking on High Rise members TNT, Tyson and Tyriek. And we've got Tavion versus Dempsey, and if Tavion wins, he's free from the No Quarter Catch crew, or the Candy Crew, as we call them. next week seems like a good show. A lot of good stuff on there. I'm very excited to see a lot of that, so I'll be excited to see that here. Remember that we are 2 weeks away from both Evolution and the Great American Bash. We won't be doing our standard pre-show for the Great American Bash, but we'll have more information on what we are doing with that soon. For a post-show, stay tuned. I might be going solo for that one. The weekend rates have gone up again for Hollywood Astrid, and she's already working the Evolution show, so the rates are even higher to get her work twice on a weekend. So I might be doing a show by myself. But forget about that. That's not this week. Let's show you what all our local establishment has this week.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you, why? I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat at time, I press the lens just to tell you, don't leave the way, don't leave a stay. Then I try with a kind of flame in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Mel popping in. She needs you to drop some money. I guess that's lyrics from a song that I have no clue what the hell it is. So hopefully Ash.
I don't know either.
I see the musical notes, so I assume it's music lyrics that I don't know. Those are the wonderful things you can find here at our local establishment. Down here is where you can find our local establishment, either at the ticker on below, or of course the wonderful graphic that I have below our two names. Lisa is the singer. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say it definitely has to be K-pop. That's what she's listening to.
Okay. I know what a K-pop is, but I don't know any of the band. The last thing I knew from K-pop was, is Rose? Is that K-pop? The girl who did the Bruno Mars song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that's K-pop. Okay, and then there's BTS, right?
Yep.
Or BST, whatever the fuck they're called.
No, BTS. You had it.
The couple of the guys that got out of the army, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm down with the kids. I know what's going on, sort of.
I'm surprised. There you go.
Oh,
I was gonna
okay.
say Blackpink. Yeah.
Okay. I know the one song because he's got Bruno Mars in it, and I'm a Bruno Mars guy, so I know the one song. And then we had the final segment of the night. And Astrid, say something good about this segment because I have none.
Well, I did like the fact that the way that Jordan came up about the fact that she said like she feels like she doesn't belong in WWE. I like the fact that the crowd responded to her right away when they're like, "You belong." Yes, Mobile, you need to educate him. I'm learning a little bit because of my sister too, so that's where I get my information from. No, but I like the segment of her coming at her and like saying it. She was never that kind of person that would say, "I'm a WWE superstar." The way her career was going, but I like the fact that she might have said later on that. And this, I've heard Sasha Banks say it before, Mercedes say it before, become someone they couldn't ignore. And I like the fact that she even mentioned that here on the road to Evolution. It's like she is somebody that has become undeniable in that sense of it, especially with her run in TNA. But I think it was very interesting having here. We get JC coming out, confronting her. I still like the fact that JC's like, "Oh, I'm the best. I'm a winner." I was like, "You won the one time it counted on the most, but you're not necessarily a winner." Like
After 4.5 years.
So it's like when she says that, I was like, "Oh shoot, why did you say stuff like that?" It's like, "Oh, I'm the best." It's like, "Yeah, because you won the one match you needed to win. One out of how many?" It's like, I like JC and all, but to me that line, it didn't belong in this particular scenario. I definitely would have made her say that whatsoever. And she keeps saying about she's the most beatable champion. That's what people say. They have a back and forth until Jordan told her to shut up. And then she goes up to Jordan. They go after each other. Jasmine, I wonder if she's still injured because she left the ring like really right away before anything happened physically here. So I was thinking that that's probably the case why. And Jordan gets beat up by Fallon and by JC, only for Blake Monroe to make the save in her little run because her run was so funny. I couldn't. I want to see that again. It definitely
It's adorable. It's fucking adorable.
it made me laugh. It took me out of that concentration I had because I was thinking this is a serious moment. I see her walking. I lost it at that point. I was like, oh shoot, everybody's gonna be talking about this walk more than the whole segment later on tonight. But we get Jordan and Ava comes out, confronts the fatal influence, and she announces it'll be JC and Fallon versus Jordan and Blake Monroe, aka Mariah May, at the Great American Bash.
So, I don't know why, but as vulnerable and real as Jordan Grace said she was being, I didn't feel truth or vulnerability from anything she said.
Yeah, I didn't feel believable. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's weird because I know everything she's saying is the truth. I've watched from afar. Like, I haven't watched week in and week out, but I've watched enough Jordan Grace to know that WWE was never where she thought she was going to go. She wasn't one of these kids who grew up being like, she's not Bayley. She's not Sasha. She's not Mariah May, who's like, I'm going to be a WWE superstar. She wasn't that person. And that's fine. You don't need to be. No, because I think Natalya, when she really wants to, is really good. And Jordan, Jordan can cut a really good promo, which is why this stood out like a sore thumb to me. Is she kept saying, I'm going to be real, I'm going to be vulnerable. And it felt like it was all written like she's never seen it before and she was seeing it for the first time. And it felt really awkward. Everything she said was really good. Every word that was in that promo was really great. But like we talked about last week when I talked about her graphic, and I'm going to bring up the graphic again because it goes into what I'm talking about. Look at the resting bitch face on Jordan Grace's PNG for this graphic. Like, that's strong RBF right there. Really strong. And in this promo, it felt like she was saying the promo with that look on her face. There are so many people, when they start cutting that real, honest promo, that they get into it, they feel it, and you can feel it through the camera, that they buy it, they believe it. Mercedes' first promo in AEW, you felt that, you bought that. When CM Punk cut the pipe bomb, you felt it. You felt like it was real. You felt like it was honest. No matter how real or unreal it really was, in the moment when you watched it, you felt it. The Eddie Guerrero promo where he talks about how wrestling is his new drug. He's an addict and he's addicted to wrestling. That whole promo with him and Brock Lesnar before No Way Out, when he wins that world championship, believe it or not, is one of my top 5 ever promos in all of professional wrestling. It is up in my top 5 because it is such a good promo from Eddie Guerrero in that moment. Because you felt the vulnerability from Eddie Guerrero in that promo. I loved everything Jordan Grace had to say here, but I didn't believe anything she said. And that's kind of sad because it was all true. Then JC comes out. JC's been here. What did we say last week? 4.5 years? Something like that. She's been here since 2021, 2022, right? You've been in development so long. And the biggest accomplishment to your own recollection is that you were a tag team champion because Mandy Rose was the women's champion. That's why you were a tag team champion to begin with, Jason. And now you're the champion because WWE got put between a rock and a hard place because Triple H decided to call Stephanie up. And Shawn was like, the fuck do I do?
Mm-hmm.
She is the most beatable champion. And the more she says she's not, the more I know she is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know every time she talks, I feel like she knows that she's got 15 minutes of fame. And that clock is ticking real fast. I don't know if she loses it to Jordynne Grace at Evolution. If it were me, I would. If it were me, I would pull the trigger on Jordynne Grace at Evolution and deal with the the Blake Monroe situation down the road. Like,
it's so tough though, but like, because at the same time, you have Jordan, you have Blake Monroe here as options. But I feel like like, I don't want to say perfect, but the like best aligned story you could have done would have been Fallon beating JC. After everything back and forth of like JC being, oh, you're always a loser, you're always losing your matches. Telling Fallon that, and Fallon kept looking at JC and the championship when JC did her first promo. So the fact that I'm like, at this point, I would have preferred Fallon beating JC than even Jordan on Blake, to be honest. Because it feels like kind of like Zaria and Soul. Like I even though I would have liked for Izzi to win the title, it also feels like the better storyline to have Zaria win over Ruca when she takes that title. And I feel like this is the same instance in here too. It's like you see the way that the tension they were having, even though something that they were like, I don't want to say playing around, but something they were planning because of the championship match. But I feel like at the end, still Fallon kept looking at the championship and at JC in such a certain way that I'm like, I would have loved for Fallon to take that title. But again, you're in the same situation that you were a couple months ago when you had a Julia and a Stephanie here, Pasa Roxanne, and you're like, okay, who do I pick? Let me just do it with all three of them somehow, in some way, because you just want all of them to be champions somehow before they leave. And you don't know how much time you have with them, because out of the three of them, here, Jordan is probably the next one to get called up before even Black Bear does. So you don't have a lot of time left for Jordan. So might as well give Jordan the championship now, because you don't know when she's going to get called up. Maybe like the same way Stephanie did.
and you can still do Jordynne Grace winning the championship, do JC versus Blake as a number one contenders match down the road. And you can kick the Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe is here for a while. She's probably not gone in the next 3 or 4 months. You can kick this Blake Monroe wins the Women's World Championship a couple months down the road.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing the triple threat at Evolution, which it doesn't seem like that's the route we're going to go. We're getting the tag match, as Ava said at the end of this, Blake and Jordan versus Terrible Toxic. So we're getting that tag match. So that means we're probably still getting the one-on-one match. JC probably wins dirty at Evolution because that's probably where we're headed. And then what? We get the triple threat the next month? No, screw it. Just have Jordan win. Have somebody else challenge Jordan. Lash Legend seems like a good option to me. And then let Blake fight JC as a number one contenders match at that same pay-per-view. And you can have that big, match for Blake Monroe. Like, there are ways to do this where it's not all terrible, but there's just, for a segment that did everything right, it did so much wrong, and it's so hard. Because again, like I said, I don't want to hate on Jordynne Grace because I love Jordynne Grace. I've been a big Jordynne Grace fan for a long time. Every time we talked about the TNA Knockouts roster, I kept telling you, Jordynne Grace needs to get out of TNA. She needs to get to WWE. She's a big fish in a small pond. Now she's here, and it just feels off. Something's wrong with. She's not the juggernaut that she was in TNA. And I don't know what's changed, and I'd really love to know. But it just feels like something's off with her character. But again, everything she said was great. The vulnerability about this being Evolution, this being the biggest night for women, and she gets to, instead of watching on TV like she did for the first Evolution, she gets to be here and compete. She gets to compete with the women that she's looked up to for so many years that were at the top of this game, and she gets to prove that she belongs with them. That night needs to end for her with holding that championship above her head.
Yeah.
And I just feel like she's not.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Hulk, SCG, I it makes me feel great that you guys are agreeing with me here. But at the same time, it's like, I wish I didn't have to be agreed with on a negative point. Because I love to love things about wrestling. I don't, as noted as I am for ranting or the haterade, I love to enjoy my professional wrestling. It's why I watch NXT on a weekly basis. It's why I catch WWE shows when I can. And it's why I don't watch a lot of other things. Because I keep my wrestling to the things that I love and I enjoy. And I don't try to reach out too much to overextend myself so that I have to watch everything and I don't have to hate watch professional wrestling. And I love to enjoy things because I think it's so much better as an internet wrestling community when we can build people up rather than tear them apart. And like I said, Jordan's words were really good. I just wish I felt what she said as opposed to hearing what she said.
Yep.
And
very true.
And it sucks. And it sucks because she's capable of greatness. She really is. She's capable of greatness. Astrid, tell the good people what you've got coming up.
Well, for those of you that didn't watch it, I was on the Mission Pro Wrestling YouTube channel last week on the Spotlight, so you can catch that on their channel there as well. We got a little bit into everything, so it was a fun way to talk about everything that I like.
Astrid interviewing Thunder Rosa coming soon.
I wish.
No?
No, I wish, but no, that doesn't happen like that. But no, other than that, you can find me here on Tuesdays talking with this one all about NXT with the Great American Bash coming up. So, and Evolution, I know so far Mel and I are going to do the Evolution post show. Hopefully she's still doing it with me. But yeah, other than that, you can find me my Twitter blue sky is Astrid Pizarro and my Instagram and Threads is Astrid Pizarro 20. And if you're here and you're on my YouTube channel, you can hit the like button or hit the subscribe button and hit that bell to be notified when I upload.
Yeah. I've got a busy schedule coming up. You can find me on Twitter on Blue Skies at EdFries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. Tomorrow night, it will be just me and Andre. The Empress of Marvel Talk is unavailable just yet, but she'll be back soon. I have her word that she will be back soon. But she's given us permission to go ahead and do episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Ironheart tomorrow night, so we're very excited for that. You can also catch me, I believe it's this week, on Thursday night with the trivia contest on Ring Respect Radio. I have a bone to pick with the Ring Respect Radio crew in the trivia contest, as I believe that there may have been shenanigans last month. There may have been some shenanigans last month, so I have a bone to pick with some people over there. But of course, you can find me back here next Tuesday. Remember that we've got coming up, I will be here for the Great American Bash post show. I may be doing it by myself, but I will be here. You can probably catch me for the Saturday night's main event show because I have to be here to talk about Bill Goldberg winning the championship from Gunther, just because I know it'll piss Bobby off that I'm rooting for Bill Goldberg. But no, we got all kinds of fun stuff coming up. Just like those December shenanigans when you decided you were occupied when I showed up. Mama Fries had a lot of issues during the months of November, December, and January. Unfortunately, I was unavailable for that. I wish I could have been there. Because how great would it have been to have won a trivia contest and had to have Mike say that I won something? So, Goldberg, exactly. Goldberg forever champ. Yes, Goldberg forever champ. It's fantastic. But yeah, you can probably catch me and Mark Talks Wrestling talking all things Saturday Night's Main Event. And then, like we said, Evolution will be an all-women's review show. Ashley's putting together a wonderful panel. Hopefully we can get some more names to be added to that if they're not working media for the show, because we took a lot of them will probably be trying to work media for that show. But again, you can find all kinds of great things here at our local establishment. And again, the War Room. Every Monday we'll be dropping a new episode of the War Room. That's me versus Bobby Munson versus that bastard Eric Bischoff in my GM mode from WWE 2K25. Catch week 1 right here, right now. The draft episode is out. Week 1 came out yesterday. We've already got weeks 2 and 3 in the can. And the ending of week 2 was a surprise for OLED. Let me tell you. Week 2 was a surprise for OLED. So make sure you go ahead and check that one out. But if you want to catch anything else, our local establishment, you can catch it here. The Mother Talking Post Show, Ring Respect Radio, the Mel's Noah Show, Mel's Get Ready With Me Show, Strong Style Fashion, I believe it's called. All kinds of great stuff. Marvel Talk, Astrodass. It's all kinds of great stuff comes to this channel. Good. Astrodass isn't on this channel. It's on the other channel. There will be an Astrodass again at some point. I'm going to manifest it by talking about it. Asher hates it when I talk about stuff that she hasn't been able to do. Hope Asher is more organized than WWE when it comes to booking that card. It really isn't that hard to be good.
Who do you think I am? Of course I'm more organized than WWE.
Goldberg winning will make the majority of the community complain. Yes, it will. Which is honestly why I'm rooting for it. I also rooted for Jinder Mahal to beat Randy Orton, and then he did, and I was happy because I got to watch the internet burn. But for myself, for Ash Mazzara, I have been OLED at Fries. That's the natural. We'll catch you all next week. Bye.
I am in misery.